Hey guys, welcome to another East Coast Rams podcast. I'm your co-host Ashton here with my awesome co-host Zach, and we are doing a live just straight after game. Got to get the emotions out and talk about, I would say, definitely a top five most frustrating loss I've ever watched this team go through in the McVay era. It was
It has to be the worst. From top to bottom, I think it has to be the worst that I've ever seen in the Sean McVay era.
I wouldn't say it's as bad as the Ravens loss in 2019, but this is a frustrating loss because of the, let's say, the prevent level defense, kind of just giving up yards. I still agree with the choice. It's frustrating to watch, but the Eagles chewed down the clock on themselves, and we were in position to win this game twice, and we should
Oh,
have won
more
this
than that.
game. Yeah, we were overall the better team from first quarter to second quarter. We had a touchdown called back because of a penalty that was nowhere near to the same level of the holding that was happening on the Eagles O line consistently. We had D linemen getting pushed down. You had like Devontae had a push off, but so did AJ Brown. So like both teams had push offs not called. You had a lot of holding on Puka and Devontae multiple times by the cornerbacks. And then the ticky tack calls on the Rams, and only like they had like two ticky tack calls on the Eagles, but the volume was very, it wasn't proportional at all. It it's a game where we understand in NFL, Zach, the best team doesn't always win. We say this all the time. But man, it does suck when everything aligns for the Eagles to basically be able to come back in this game. Everything is going against you, and you still get a chance to bury it. And I feel like the offense isn't at fault for this one at all, for the
Yeah.
most part. Like
Okay.
Stafford wasn't perfect,
No.
but
Yeah. So
again,
yeah. So as we get into this, we are going live. So if you are want to catch us up on YouTube, youtube.com/East Coast Rams, you can join us in the chat. Keep having this conversation. We are going to try to keep ourselves as much. This is a therapy session, but we're going to try to keep each other as much in check as we possibly can.
yeah,
Try not to go down too many tirades. But you're right. The offense. The Rams look good in the first half. They did
yeah,
what they were supposed to do. They went down. They marched down the field. They got their opportunities. Probably the most disappointing thing about the first half was just the amount of points we left up on the board. Some of that was just because of poor officiating. I don't know how you can call a holding call on our center when there's, especially in that goal zone, short on the goal line, but you can't see a tush push false start like twice. Like I just don't understand how you can see both of those things. And then in the second half, I don't know. It felt like everything was against us. The refs felt
yeah,
against us. And again, like it's one of those things where like I try not to blame the refs because they're playing a game, they're calling things. There was a couple calls that the Eagles didn't like that they called against them too in the first quarter, in the first half. But the one that made me the most mad was the one with Puka in the second half where I don't know if they went to the computer review or whatever, and they tried to reverse it. And then we had to challenge it just to show that, no, it clearly did not hit the ground. And then immediately after that, we get a taunting penalty on Puka when that has legitimately been his go-to first down flex, point the first down arrow and move on.
yeah. And Falco, you make a great point here. Yeah, the special teams was great outside of those two blocked field goals, and those were great plays by Philly's special teams. Don't misunderstand. Like we said going into this game, Philly is a good team, but the kind of the chemistry to beat them, And the algorithm to beat them is basically getting up on them and forcing them throw. And we did that, and this was a game that we were in position to definitely put away multiple times, and I feel like it was because of reffing. Now, the execution wasn't perfect, and you can take that out of the ref's hands by having perfect execution. That's not always gonna happen, and Stafford was definitely off, especially in between, like, the latter 2nd quarter and early 3rd quarter. And I think it is sad when you're putting a team in position where they have to be perfect and the other team does not, because the Eagles were far from perfect in this game and they got a lot of breaks. We would have been in field goal range again if Puka didn't get called for that taunting, which is just ridiculous because the Eagle players did the exact same thing afterwards, like flapping after a stop on 4th down. It's just like, what are we doing here? Because it wasn't like he was doing it directly at a person. I definitely get it if someone's like flexing directly over the player or like looking staring down at him, but that's not what Puka was doing, and it was kind of funny, Zach, to see him clearly not do that for the rest of the game just to
Yeah.
avoid that. And it sucks. It sucks to see the refs become a focal point, kind of the conversation about this game because, like you said earlier, the tush push. I would say 3 or 4 times in this game they had a false start, and it just wasn't called, and it's just ignored. And
I mean, and it's kudos to the. I mean, obviously, you play to your strengths, and obviously, the NFL doesn't want to ban the tush push right now. So what are they doing? They're just going to keep on doing it, and until someone calls it off, it's gonna be the same way each and every week. So, I mean, that's the one sad part is like I don't know why it's not being called, but especially since it does seem like a false start. Plus, I think the first field goal block was also seemed like a neutral zone false start on the defense for reaching
yeah,
in sooner than the pitch too. So I don't know. There's just seemed like the officiating from the first half to the second half was just completely not the same. And I get like you're going to have some Eagles fans who are going to say that there was a PI call on Devonta Adams for that touchdown that he got.
you
I
mean
mean,
a push
again,
off, but
a
AJ
push
Brown had a
off.
push off too, and that wasn't called. So that's
Right.
even in my eyes. If you're not
Sure.
calling push offs, you're not calling push offs. I just ask for consistency. That's all I want. If you're not going to call push offs in the entire 4 quarters, then do it. I would prefer if we call push offs the same for every game, yes. But in this game, they weren't calling push offs, and they didn't do it for AJ Brown, so very fair, and that's a fair score. But if you're like not going to call false starts and you're not going to call holds, and Fisk got held twice, like he was getting choked down to the ground. Not to mention, I think Byron Young also got pushed down to the ground, which we got a penalty for something like that last week.
Yeah.
So
You,
it's
yeah.
inconsistent
You're gonna
roughing.
get people who are gonna look at the stats and be like, well, but the Eagles were actually penalized more than the Rams. They got penalized 5 times for 50 yards compared to our 4 times for 41 yards. But again, it's the way that it is being called is where we have the problem with, not necessarily the total number of penalties or things like that.
And I will
Um,
say though those calls on the kickoffs were ticky tack. Like those shouldn't have been called on the Eagles. But the difference is all the calls on the Rams were in critical moments in red zone situations. We had a touchdown called back. That's difference in the game.
right.
Because all the Rams have to do is run out the clock in the last drive versus having to kick a field goal.
But man, the Rams not being able to capitalize on their lead. I mean, you go into basically the half. I mean, you go into the third quarter, you immediately get the turnover and then score a touchdown, and then
Yeah.
the Eagles go down and score 26 unanswered points. Unanswered points. It's just it's something that this Rams offense just cannot. You can't just keep relying on your defense to pull you out of it. You need to be able to give them time off the field, and punting the ball away is just not what you can do when you have that big of a lead. You have to eat
Well,
up more clock.
it's kind of hard to do that when you keep on getting wide receivers clearly held. Like
Sure,
We
but
should
find
have
somebody
had
else. Find
Holden.
somebody. We need to find somebody else. I mean, right now in this game, Puka and Devontae Adams were the only in the passing game, the only
Yeah.
threats. There, no one else was doing anything. Whittington had a 1 7-yard catch, and that was it. Like we need to get this. We need to get somebody else into this game, and it just never happened.
So I don't disagree with that in a sense, but you look at the game flow, like our running game was working very well. And then when we did pass, we only, like, to be honest, it wasn't like they weren't open. They were getting open. So I get it from a play calling perspective, not having to go to a third or fourth guy, because your one and two are getting open. They're making plays. And on those bang bang plays, they should have been getting flags because they weren't even slight holding. It wasn't ticky tack holding. That was a clear grab on multiple times on Puka and Adams, where we would have first downs in the red zone of the Eagles. And it's kind of, I get your point. Maybe we could have did it a little bit more diverse on third down, but with how the running game was working and how good those Adams and Puka were doing, you don't really have to go to the third and fourth guy. Like we said, this was a game we should have won, and you know, weirdly enough, the Rams are not the only team to have 2 field goals blocked to lose a game. Green Bay also.
Well, the Buccaneers almost did it too. They had a field goal block that went back for a touchdown. Luckily, their second game-winning field. They were in basically the same position we were in, but luckily their second game-winning field goal actually was successful. So there was a lot of special teams plays happening today in the NFL.
Yeah, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Those 2 field goals were awful execution. Not by Cardi, just terrible execution by the blocking line. And Limmer, someone was giving Limmer flack for other play before that. I noticed on Twitter. I don't know what they were referring to. The second block field goal was on Limmer. He just let those guys straight on in. It was I don't know how they teach the blocking scheme and how they do the gaps, but that's just twice in a row. They just let guys straight in and they're able to stand straight up.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 opportunities that they could have had to kind of keep the game out of reach and did not do it. Some of the positive stuff, obviously, you had Matthew Stafford. He was 19 for 33 attempts, 196 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have that 1 interception at the very beginning, but clearly that did not. Yeah, and then clearly that didn't lose us the game initially because again, we were up 17-9 at the end, and it became 26-7 at the third quarter. Also, a rushing game was pretty elite. I mean, Kyron Williams, 20 carries for 94 yards. He averaged 4.7. Blake Corum also had a great game, 8 carries for 53 yards, averaging 6.6 carries. So that was great.
Yeah.
Puka, 11 receptions for 112 yards. Devontae Adams, 3 for 56 with that 1 touchdown. Again, like if you look at our numbers are pretty good. We were able to get the fumble and the fumble recovery.
Good pressure, good amount of sacks.
Our defense played well for the time period that they had. It's maybe I shouldn't have posted that, before the second quarter, we were 10 weeks in, and the only time that the Rams allowed a TD, the defense allowed a TD, was on an interception. Well, that kind of flipped the script in the third quarter, so maybe I jinxed us there. But again,
it's different though. You call it defense differently when it's a close 1-score game than when you're up multiple possessions, right? And it was very clear. We moved back our safeties and our linebackers, and we just basically said, take your dink and dunk passes, and we're trying to run out the clock, basically. Now, whether or not fans like that, it technically worked. They ran the clock out on themselves, and the Rams were a few third and fourth down stops away from winning this game, not requiring a field goal. So, yeah, Rams do got a 3-0 Colts next, and we'll do an episode previewing the Indiana Jones Colts. So. Lucky
Yeah,
us.
yeah, lucky us. I mean, again, we were going up against the Super Bowl champs. This is a talented
Good
offense that
team,
they
yeah.
have. It's a very good team. I mean, obviously having Jalen Hurts, having Saquon Barkley, who we did pretty much hold. What did we hold him to?
Like
46 yards.
55. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
46 yards on 18 attempts. That's averaging 2.6 yards per carry. Like we did a really good job of
Yeah.
stopping the run, which was great. It was just again kind of what we even said in the last game is like our weakness is kind of in our secondary, and if they can pick and choose at our secondary, that's where they're going to see some success. And the Eagles finally found that in the second half.
Yeah, is some of that is us not doing exotic blitzes, trying to confuse Hurts with zone coverage, and doing a lot of four-man rushes, and those rushes not getting there, partially because there was a lot of holding on that Eagles O line, especially on the edges, not as much through the center. And yeah, it that kind of sucks there, Zach, not being able to get pressure when needed. He didn't have a lot of time in his throws when especially in second half. They were very quick throws. So I mean, Hurts, he's good. He's a good QB. I don't understand why people give him as much hate as they do. Like he can make the throws, and he wouldn't have been the reason the Eagles lost this game. To be frank. Uh, but the Rams defense just they played not to lose instead of playing to win. And I understand people who kind of critique that
I don't
type
know
of
if that's
defense.
necessarily true. I think they did come out to continue to put the foot on the pedal. I think that they just had some unfortunate calls against them. I think there was a
Yeah.
couple third down plays that they they couldn't get the third down conversions, which was a struggle, especially in that second half. And so like
Mm.
I think it came down to some of the bad officiating, which again, I'm not going to blame everything on the officiating because there was a lot of things that they could have held in their control in the first half. Um,
Yeah.
but in the second half, especially, it came down to the third play calling, and it came down to a few of the bad officiating calls. But I don't think I'm going to put this up here. I don't, I'm going to disagree. I really don't think they let off. I'm going to the fact that they came in, the defense came in hot, forced the fumble, got the recovery, and then they scored a touchdown. They were up 26-7. Now you could say that they went in but I don't know what else you were going to want them to do. I mean, they even went for it on fourth and short to try to keep that drive going. If they wanted to punt the ball away, they could have done that at that point as
Yeah.
well.
Zach, let's talk about that play call on 4-1. Do you agree with the up the gun gut run there? After
Definitely
I
not. Well, not definitely behind Limmer. I mean, that's who we went behind. I would have chose something else or done a jet sweep or something. Like I would not have chosen. No, to your answer, I would not have chosen that call.
Yeah, it was interesting. What do you make about the play before that one going to the fade? That was the other fade attempt, the Devontae, where Devontae almost caught that too. And then again, technically by the playbook, since the corners did not look back before initiating contact with the wide receiver, that's pass interference, and that happened twice in the red zone against Devontae once, and I want to believe Puka other time. Puka was both of those were in the red zones. One time it was in the end zone. So do you think that was a good play call to kind of like take the shot there, the kill shot, or do you think it would have been better to go with a high percentage play and like go for a run, knowing you'll go for it on fourth and short?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. I figured I thought they were so close that they were having so much success in the run game that they should have just kept running the ball. Um, but mind you, I mean, I was kind of going back through and mind you, like kind of forgot about it, but the Rams only punted the ball away one time. One time. They were just stuck at doing field
They
goals for
played
the most
good.
part.
They
Yeah.
played good on offense, and this is such a
This,
thing about like red zone trips where I wouldn't even say the play calling was bad in the red zone or like the
no.
execution was terrible in the red zone. Like normally, like me and you, Zach, we're pretty like in
We're
line,
pretty
and we'll
critical.
say we'll say when we think they were red zone, like bad in the red zone, and that was a lot of our pods last year. Was like they need a tight end to be able to get open over in the middle of the field in the red zone, or they need to be able to do more than just like hand the ball off on the
Yeah.
2 or 3 yard line, the Kyron, to be able to score. And this game, it just felt like a lot of their opportunities in the red zone, it was either a penalty that should have been called, or Stafford just missed
Mhm.
on plays that he normally makes. And that's what makes those missed penalties hurt even more. And like when you do execute to a high level, and like Adams would have caught that first down, we don't get it. So it sucks.
Yeah, it was definitely a rough game to watch because again, I did feel like the Rams played really well as a whole. Obviously, scoring points is better than not scoring points, but again, those field goals kind of hurt a little bit, especially when at least two of those field goals should have been touchdowns, which just could have further put the game away, and we didn't have to worry about a one last minute drive, which Stafford did. He took us down the field. That's what Stafford does. I mean, this is why we bring in someone like we have someone like Stafford, is because we know that he can bring in the ball. We knew he could take the ball down. He's led so many um, end drives that way. And it's unfortunate that we couldn't get it done because of that blocked punt or blocked field goal.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I feel like this is a statement to the NFL that the Rams are a serious contender. Um,
Oh,
I
for
think,
sure. I don't think anyone should doubt us anymore, even with the
yeah, I
start.
think if you play the end of this game 9 times out of 10, again, we win that game, and it's just it's self-inflicted errors mixed with like things going against you, and I know this team can execute at a high level and win a majority of these games. So, I'm
Definitely.
happy with the team and how they performed. They could have been better, and they could have taken it out of the officials' hands. And, you have a other team on the other side also executing at a high level, making that hard. So,
Yeah, I mean, you look at the teams across the league, like you just look at other games that played today, and the Packers, who have also been dominant. It seems like over the last few weeks, they lost to the Browns today. Like, there's other teams here that you look at, and you're just like, the Raiders lost to the Commanders with a backup quarterback. Um, the Jets almost, did the same thing to the Bucks that the Eagles did to the Rams. They already blocked one field goal, and they could have almost blocked a second one. So, like the NFL is a weird place, but I think that the Rams put enough out on the field, especially the Rams offense, to have better faith than we have previously, especially last season or the season before.
yeah. So, what are some things, Zach, that you think going forward we could do to kind of prevent? I don't want to say collapse, because I don't think this was a collapse. It wasn't like that Bills game in what was that 22 or 23? The one, or actually no, I think I'm thinking of the 2020 Bills game where we collapsed in the second half.
Well, I mean, you could also talk about the when me and you saw the Colts game where we dominated the complete first half and they came back. Luckily, we ended up winning with a Puka touchdown, but it was kind of felt similar to that. Um, Even though like we pretty much had this game, we should have had this game won the whole time. We came back multiple times, drove the ball down the field, and either got a field goal or we had two block field goals. So again, it was unfortunate that our special teams failed us this week, especially when really, like, if you looked at what we were doing on every kickoff and we were hitting it, we were doing that kind of like you know weird. Some of the times it was called like a dirty ball on there or a knuckleball or whatever, and it was like bouncing. And really, we were putting the Eagles in a really bad spot at like the 10 or so. And that was a great play by special teams. And then you come back to it, and we ended it on poor special teams with 2 block punts, which seems crazy. I think I got points out of that.
I would like to see the NFL stats for blocked field goals multiple in the same game with a double-digit lead. That doesn't happen often. And yeah, Falco, I'll reiterate what you said. None of that was Cardi's fault. I wouldn't even say it was like he was taking forever to kick the ball. He was doing a normal time. Those, again, it was a great ability by Philly's special teams to get pressure as quick as they did. And it was kind of ridiculously bad blocking on both block field goals. It was just crazy.
Yeah, this game's gonna sting for a while, but I don't think that this is any indication that the Rams are on a downward spiral. They played against a good team. The Eagles are a good team. They were the Super Bowl champs. You got to give them credit for that. They do deserve that. When we
did we have a single 3-and-out?
No,
I don't think we did.
We only punted the ball once.
Yeah, I don't remember if that was a 3. I think we got a first down with Puka and then had to end up punting that drive. So, again, we can be – I don't see the point in, raking the offense over the coals because they moved the ball the entire time. It was just all 3 phases not executing to the highest level and stuff going against us. And you end up with a tough loss.
Yep, all 3 phases, and when one of your phases fails, that's usually your downfall. And unfortunately, one of them failed. I mean, that's 6 points off the board. That should have been easily enough to finish this game out. So
yeah. I mean,
it's hard to take him back. Yeah, it's really hard to say that. I mean, you had a 32-yard block punt and a 44-yard. Those are 2. Cardi definitely would have made those. Just stinks.
And then the call to push us out of field goal range with the Puka taunting, that's a 3rd try. We just need one of those.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
it sucks. Anything else? Anybody else in the comments want to say anything before we wrap this up? We are live at youtube.com/@EastCoastRams.
We can give credit to Blake Corum. He had a fantastic game playing with Kyron. Both him and Kyron were spectacular.
And I will say that we were done with seeing the series runs. We finally started seeing them swapping them out mid drives, which is what I've been wanting to see. Again, I don't want to put anything against Blake Corum. I think he's also a fantastic running back, but I want to see him not in a series by himself. I want to see that rotation between the 2, and we finally saw that. And I thought we saw some great success with it from both Kyron and from Blake. I thought they both did a really great job at handling the ball.
Yeah, because I almost feel like when you're able to do that and go back and forth between the backs, you just keep them a little bit more explosive for the next play and not having to wear them down so much in the same drive. And I feel like both of those guys have such great vision, and I think Corum has an explosiveness that's kind of untapped that we can continue to use. So I'm not worried about the running game. It looked good. The passing game looked explosive. Our biggest hiccups in the passing game, outside of the interception, a great play by Zach Bond. He was one of the biggest reasons the Eagles won this game outside of blocked field goals. But the only issue with the passing game was Stafford just airmailing people, I think because he had got intercepted. And I kind of posted this on Twitter under our account. I was like, I kind of think because he got intercepted so early in the game, he started highballing all the passes until the 3rd and 4th quarter. It kind of felt like he was just trying to not put it in harm's way and kind of being a little cautious because he did turn it over so early in the game, which I don't even view as much as his fault. Zach Bond just was where he shouldn't have been and made a fantastic play.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, maybe Stafford tried to no look it. I don't know. I would have to go back through, but Hey, you win some, you lose some, Zach.
That's right.
Neither of us predicted the Rams to go 17-0, but they definitely should have won this game.
For sure. But we got time to make it up. I mean, obviously, we have the Colts next week back at home at SoFi Stadium.
Yeah,
2 weeks on the road. Now we're back at home for 2 weeks. So hopefully, these Rams can kind of take care of business and move forward with this loss. I know a lot of them got to sting just because they wanted to win this game because of what happened in the divisional round. But we need to dust it off, get back to fundamentals, play some Rams football up against this, pretty good, talented Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, it does hurt, especially given the fact that I think after 3 weeks, I believe this will be a number one seed contending team. And this just makes that a lot harder
100%.
because the Eagles are going to be in that run. Green Bay is going to be in that run. Tampa Bay will be in that run. So these critical NFC losses or wins, like this would have been a really good feather in the cap for going and winning that number one seed, which we have actually never won under McVay. So we got two in 2018, and at that time you still got a bye because of that, but we had never actually won number one seed.
It's all about placement in the playoffs, so we'll see how it goes. Anything else you want to say before we wrap this up?
Let's see. Puna forward, great play by him. He had a sack. I'm trying to think. I would say Manuel Forbes had a lot of good moments, a good amount of bad moments, but you're going against AJ Brown. Like AJ Brown is a great talent. So, I mean, I thought he did good. He is not a lockdown corner. He's not Jalen Ramsey, but I think he did enough to win the game again. So,
yeah.
And then Lake, all of our safeties, fantastic game. Did not lose
Lake,
the game because of them.
Yeah, no, again, it's just missed opportunities, the special teams calls. Obviously, I think our D-line did an excellent job. Again, I still think our weakness is in our secondaries. And when our pass rush doesn't get home or force the quarterback to panic, which I think Hurts did a really good job, especially in the second half, of not panicking, that's when you're able to capitalize on our secondaries.
Yeah, that him doing a lot of them calling a lot of QB runs really slowed down the fierceness of this pass rush and kind of opened up a lot of things for him. So got to kind of fix that against mobile QBs because we're going to face a lot of them this year. Real quickly, Zach, do you want to talk about the gear you got and how you liking the new gear?
Oh, you're talking about
Yeah.
the new gear. Yeah, I love it. I think it looks amazing in person. I did get the limited one, so it is a more fitted feel. So if you want something to put like right now, I got this. I normally wear large. I got a large. It would be probably a little tight if I put a sweatshirt on underneath this. So just if you get the limited ones, you may want to upsize if you plan on putting something underneath of it. But if not, this is more of a closed fit. I think I like it better. But it's really nice. I like it. It looks way better in person than I saw it kind of modeled off on the internet.
Yeah, it definitely looks better than kind of the promo material. I'll be interested to see how it looks in live action and during the game. So, yeah, if you guys want to go buy that, go ahead and go.
That's nice. All right. Well, I think that will wrap it up for this week's episode. Well, this episode of the East Coast Rams podcast. You can find us on all of our social media apps, on X at East Coast Rams, on Threads and Instagram at East Coast Rams Pod. You can find us on Blue Sky by just searching East Coast Rams. And you can always find us at youtube.com/at East Coast Rams. Please make sure that you go to YouTube and follow our channel. It would really help boost our numbers and kind of continue to push out in the internet ether. Ashton, any final thoughts?
2-1 against 3-0. I hope they rebound and just have a good game against Indy. They're going to be a lot better than even last time faced because their QB can actually throw now. So, how good remains to be seen, but they're on a roll. So we're going in against a few hot teams, and the next 3 or 4 weeks, Zach, are going to be very critical for the playoffs. Very critical against good teams.
Yep, and Indy is my home, so I do not want to wear the cone of shame around here if for that. So, but more about that when we talk about it in our preview episode this week. So please make sure you look out for that. Well, that is Ashton at Rampan Ashton1 on X. I am Zach Mayer at Zach Mayer, and we will see you guys next time.